In fourth grade, Unit 4, students learn about, I think you're going to notice a theme here, which is that I keep telling you it's more complicated than what we learned as kids. And that's, for the purpose of getting real understanding. And so in this case, it's not going to be enough to learn how to do this and call it a day. I remember equivalent fractions when I was teaching fifth graders took me a single day to teach this. But then I would ask kids, I would say, so which is bigger, 1/2 or 2/4? And they'd all say 2/4. Because of course the numbers are bigger. And I'd be like, no, trick question, they're the same. They didn't really understand what that meant. Like we set them equal, but they didn't really consider them truly equal. And so it's good that we go slow. And what we're going to do is we're really going to rely on pictures. We're going to take a picture of 1/2, for example. We're going to cut it. So I'm cutting this into 2 and this into 2. And see, I get twice as many pieces. So that's why I multiply times 2. And I get twice as many pieces shaded as well as twice as many pieces total, which is why I multiply by 2 on the top and the bottom. So I'm having to really justify these numbers and understand where these numbers are coming from. And then when I group them, that's like dividing them, putting them back together, and explaining how even though then that means I have more pieces, they could still cover the same area because the pieces are smaller. And then, of course, the opposite for if we're going in this direction. But it's a really sophisticated understanding that I think makes me excited for our kids. They're going to be even better mathematicians than I was when I was a kid. Along with equivalency is finding equivalent forms for improper fractions and mixed numbers. So the idea that 9/4 equals 2 1/4. And the foundation for that is actually understanding every fraction as a sum of unit fractions. Unit fractions are just when we have only one piece. And if I go ahead and I think of 9/8 as 9 copies of an eighth, sorry, we're getting a little crowded here, then I can start to think about grouping these and saying, oh, I want to take 8 of them. That makes a whole. So that is equal to 1 1/8. And eventually this actually leads us into representing with multiplication. I could say 9/8 is the same as 8 copies of an eighth with an eighth left over. 2 things to know. In fourth grade, the denominator only goes as high as 12. And so students are really sticking with numbers that they feel comfortable with. It's not about being able to crunch really large numbers. It's truly about understanding. And all of fraction standards in this unit and others are considered major standards. So students will have to be able to write about them and justify their reasoning.